2 goals.
Oh, and another goal for Super Eagles. This is Premier Sports Center. I live it anywhere. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember to click that subscription button.
Hello, welcome back to Talk Sports, your home for smart football talk and passionate debate. Today we've got a loaded show on Talk Sports tonight. Nigeria storms into the World Cup playoff after a 4-0 victory over Benin Republic, while South Africa pulled off a dramatic qualification comeback, and will break down the Super Eagles playoff path to the World Cup. If possible, they'll be making it through from the playoff to the Intercontinental, where 2 sports is up available for the big Mundial sports, which will be coming up right there in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico in what is a trio joint World Cup for 2026. Plus, in England, there's pressure mounting on some big managers. Alan and Salah's form is turning heads. Will spotlight the surprise breaker style lightning Europe. Let's kick things off in Africa, where Victor Osimhen is writing yet another chapter of the Super Eagles history. My name is Adeyemi Shegun, and I'll be your host on tonight's edition of Talk Sport on Premier Sport France Center. You can subscribe to the channel and also switch on your notification. But I'm not alone in the studio tonight, as I also have with me in the studio my brother. Yemite, good evening.
Good evening, Shegun. It's so good to be back. Honestly, bro, it's been a very dramatic week, especially what happened yesterday in the world of football. So, oh my goodness, I'm still surprised.
Okay, as everybody's still surprised, Nigeria getting the 4-0 victory over Benin Republic. What a game! Nigeria delivered a statement, a 4-0 demolition of their neighbors, Benin Republic, and secured the playoff spot as one of CAF's best runner-ups. Osimhen was simply electric with a hat-trick, while Frank Onyeka sealed it with a late screamer under Coach Chile. This team looks reborn for Nigeria. How vital was Osimhen's leadership and finishing to Nigeria's qualification? Is he now Africa's most clutch player?
I think that Victor Osimhen is a blessing to Nigeria. You just have to see, even despite the games that we fans complain about the attitude of the players, I don't think there's any game that Osimhen has been on the field that any Nigerian fan will complain about his attitude. You always see that he almost gives 100% at every point in time. You saw yesterday he was being subbed off because he was extremely tired. You will know that, he gave everything. So it's a blessing to this country and to Africa as a whole, because it's one of those big exports that Africa has in world football nowadays, and you just want those kinds of talent in the World Cup to represent Africa.
Yeah, hat-trick when it matters most for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and he's set on the tone. He now has 29 goals for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and each very close to breaking the record of the legendary Rashidi Yekini. And it looks like, yes, he'll definitely break that record. Rashidi Yekini has 37 goals for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and the Super is currently on 29 goals, and that is barely below 10 more goals he needs to break that status.
I think that in the playoffs that's coming, also Nations Cup, in those 2 competitions, I think that most likely might break that record, because now the momentum has swung towards Nigeria's side. When you remember the Ivory Coast Nations Cup, you saw when the momentum swung to the Ivorians, you saw the belief will come. When you are down and you are just given a lifeline, it means everything. You give everything at the end of the day. So I think that yes, it's Osimhen that will be the ISO scorer for Nigeria when he's retiring.
Okay, yes, and that is the man on the face of everybody. He's always available whenever Nigeria needs a talisman to come up clutch for them. What tactical tweak the coach Eric Chelle made that finally got Nigeria firing again? It's been long since Nigeria scored 4 goals in a game.
I think he learned something from the Zimbabwe game at Uyo, when he started with Osimhen alone up front. He noticed that when he doubled up on
Akko this time around, that was
Arokodare, you saw how it opened up Osimhen to operate more freely. And since then, he has not looked back. So I think that was what it tilted towards. And arrange the guys to play to the strength of Osimhen. And look at, against Lesotho, he didn't score, he got an assist. Against Benin, he scored an hat-trick. So looking at against Rwanda, yeah, I think 4-3-3 worked for Rwanda game, but he saw how difficult.
4-4-2 this time around.
Yeah, when you are playing a team that is well defensively organized, like the Zimbabweans and some other guys we faced in the group. So doubling up with 4-4-2, like Arsene Wenger said, is one formation that you cover the field the most. To him, is the 4-4-2, because you have your wingers, you have like a line of 2 players from the defense straight to the attack who can also spread to the wings, and you have 2 guys on the wings operating from the wings, especially when they are pacey. And you have to talk about Chukwueze. Massive.
Chukwueze to me, yeah, I think he was massive in that game against against Benin Republic.
Yeah.
But like I do say, consistency is the problem with Chukwueze. Today, he's on his own day.
Yeah.
He's a magnificent player, a player that is handful for every defenders. But on his off day,
yeah,
he can actually be frustrating.
One thing you have to look at is try to follow the trajectory of the move to form. It looks like the coach of farm is doing something. When he came in against Bournemouth, you saw he got an assist, and coming into the Nigeria, he didn't really play much against Lesotho, but the game is started. Look at how he grew into the game.
I'm sure Ademola look more be scared of his position as starting 11 of the Super Eagles right now.
I don't think so. I think the coach can create a space for the 2 of them to operate. Just imagine a 4-4-2 where you have Chukwueze on the right, Ademola on the left, and you have Iwobi and Ndidi.
Moses Simon.
And Moses Simon too can come in the second half. Chukwueze cannot be a 90 minutes player all the time. Sometimes you need to balance the wings, and sometimes you need to stick with Moses Simon, because Moses Simon too has been massive for us.
For Paris
and left for me, maybe Lookman will sit on the bench and use the inform, because see, football is about what you did yesterday, not what you did the day before yesterday. Because it's consistency. What you do part time, it builds your confidence, it builds your momentum. And see, in football, one of the most important things is momentum. When you want to win anything, is momentum. Look at Man City. I think 14 straight winnings, 18 straight winnings. They won the league. When is that momentum? Once you can build momentum, you will be very successful. And that's one thing the Super Eagles has been managing to build now. They've been building momentum gradually, defeating Rwanda, played a disappointing draw. You have to talk about it because they almost won that game. Then came again Rwanda, defeated Rwanda here. Came again Lesotho, went to South Africa. We know the field was not the best. Played the draw.
Unfortunately not to get a feature in that game.
Yeah, unfortunate. And Lesotho win. Now Benin win. That's back-to-back wins. So momentum is everything.
Okay, and also moving on. Does this performance restore faith in the Super Eagles after the shaky start earlier on in the qualifier?
No,
We've seen 3 managers coach the Super Eagles in this qualifiers. We had Lesotho. We had
Pesero. The Nations Cup, Guavon also came in.
Yeah, we had that was Nations Cup. No,
Pesero started the
World Cup.
Guavon took over from him. Guavon was sick.
Finidi came in. Yes, and after Finidi we are
Guavon.
Yeah,
it was a Guavon. The Nations Cup, Nations Cup qualifier was in between.
Yes.
Yeah, so he would have been the coach if not that he was sick.
Came in.
Yeah, but Erichel, one thing you have to notice too is it is important to leave the job of coaching for the coach. And look at what happened yesterday. Look at Onyeka was at the right place at the right time. And many of those kinds of movement, they are training ground routine actually. Yeah. You see that they were all out and he was there. to actually finish it up. And you have to give Eric Chell his flowers.
Yeah, good finishing from Frank Oyeka in that account. And moving on, yes, from celebration to anticipation. Now all eyes are on who Nigeria faces next in the playoff. We move on straight here, yes, with Gabon likely as the semi-final opponent and an intercontinental playoff potentially waiting beyond the Nigerian rules to 2026 looks steep but manageable. The question is how ready are they mentally and tactically for knockouts of football? Nigeria draws Gabon in the first semi-final of the playoff with what will be the key tactical battle in this encounter.
Yeah, I think that one thing you should know about also that the Super Eagles have is their tournament team. Any tournament arrangement, Nigeria they know how to, but not I did not include the World Cup. But anything African tournament, they are a tournament team. So you can say you write them off in qualifiers because they can be very lackadaisical. But when it comes to tournament, they are a tournament team. And you can expect anything from a tournament team.
Okay, so Nigeria will be hoping to make the qualification for the intercontinental playoff. Yeah, they have to scale through Gabon, Cameroon, and DR Congo in the semi-final and final, which comes up sometimes in November, right there in Morocco. It's a neutral ground for all these four teams in what will be one of the rehearsal for the African Cup of Nations coming up on December. You can join us on Premier Sports Fan Center for some of the actions December when the Africa Cup of Nations kick off right there in Morocco. And moving on, here is where the headache is. Should Eric Chell stick with the same attacking trio or rotate the balance? Because right now we'll be having Ademola Lukman come back into the Super Eagles of Nigeria after missing the last game against Benin due to card accumulations.
As far as I'm concerned, you don't change a winning 11. Benin is not a small team in this qualifier. They did very well. You have to give them some credit also. They came into it. Who would have expected they would gather 14 good points and share the spoils 33 points with the Super
They got
Eagles.
17 points.
Yeah?
17 points.
No, they have 14 because they did. Yeah, is it for 15? No,
Due to the reduced points,
17
points accumulated.
Yeah, they got 17 points. And who would have thought they will get that number of points? So they are not.
You also have to give it to Gareth Roll, the manager of Benin Republic. Yatiki did the unthinkable with the scratches there, and they've got a step further. Moving to qualifying for the World Cup, which is actually good for the small island nation. Okay, stop. Still on the Super Eagles. Can Nigeria also under the pressure of playoff scenario after missing the last World Cup?
Yeah, they are a tournament team. If there's the pressure of playoff, I think it won't be more than the pressure of this Benin. Because, see, it is one thing for you to just want to win. It is another for you to say that, oh, you have to win by 4 goals. But it makes it more difficult. And getting it at the 9 minutes the way they did, it will skyrocket the confidence in the squad. And it can be very, very profiting for them.
And there's no way we have to talk about that without giving it to the Super Eagles and player. They gave it their all in that game against Benin Republic. And a lot of Nigerian fans were of the question that where was this spirit all through the qualifying stage of the World Cup? I think probably they looked down or underrated some of those teams coming into the qualifiers.
Not just that, they underrated, even NFF underrated the qualifiers generally. Because if they didn't, they underrated the countries.
The likes
they
of
would just feel
Lesotho,
like, South Africa, our customer, Benin, our customer. But they forgot that you have to play football on the field of play. Look at how South Africa went about their qualifier, kept on with Hugo Bruce. He started building. They don't have that pool of talent, but they are playing as a unit. So I think that and that's one of the painful things about it. I don't think Nigerians learn. So if they learn anything from this, I think they should start working towards 2030 from now.
Okay, well, from the Super Eagles to the Bafana of South Africa, whose qualification story had everything: controversies, resilience, and redemption. A 3 points of deduction for fielding an ineligible player, player almost derailed them. Yet the fought back to the top of their group. It's a statement of character. And talking about that, before we move straight into talking about South Africa, our Arsenal fan walked into the studio. Paulo, it's a pleasure having you on Talk Sports tonight.
Yes, pleasure, being back here again. But just want to say I'm very sorry for coming a little bit late into the studio. So excited to be back. Sure I always, enjoy whenever I'm here.
Okay, working at the right time, man. We're moving straight to South Africa now. We saw South Africa, yesterday against Rwanda. Nigerians were almost up praying for a Rwanda victory over South Africa. Though I know it's the unthinkable, but I think South Africa drawing against Zimbabwe actually made Nigerians think or thought that a victory for Rwanda against South Africa was possible. How did Hugo Bruce manage to keep South Africa motivated through this drama of having 3 points deducted? There's a way it messes with psychology of the team.
Yeah, and you have to give South Africa the flowers because after the red card, I mean the 3 point, which I still consider as a red card, being shown to them or being deducted from them, they still move on and ahead with their business. Though when they drew Zimbabwe, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I was part of those people that was having faith or believing that Rwanda could do us favor." But after the match against Benin Republic, that was the match between Benin and Rwanda. That was when it was clear that Rwanda is playing for nothing anymore because they cannot qualify automatically. They cannot even qualify via the playoffs. So, at that stage, I was like, South Africa would definitely, defeat them and take all 3 points. But like you said, South Africa, they really tried. And I think overall in the team, they deserve to qualify ahead of every other team in that group because they showed character and intent.
Yeah, yes, the show character and intent during the qualifying stage, and congratulations to the Bafana of South Africa for making it through as one of the already 9 qualified African team. Just one spot is left for Africa. With Nigeria be getting
Not
that.
for Africa, even for
it's two.
It's
two
just
at
a
the
playoff
at the playoff stage. So it's definitely 60 to 40%. Africa should be getting one of the 2 spots when it comes to the final. The 2 finalists are the Intercontinental Playoff make it through to the World Cup. That's how it starts.
Oh, the 2 finalists.
Yeah, at the Intercontinental, not the Africa Playoff right now. After the Africa Playoff, the winner is going to the Intercontinental Playoff.
Which will be matched next year.
Yeah, which will be matched next year. So the Africa representative is joining in at the semi-final stage of that. So I think they'll be getting one of the. How do you say? It's football. Upsets happens in a game of football. So
but I don't think it's all the African team. It's based on the ranking. I think if Nigeria, among the teams that are there right now, if Nigeria progress, we will definitely be joining in the semi-final.
Yeah,
unlike
that's what I'm saying. They'll be joining
the
in the
other
semi-final.
teams, Gabon and Co, they won't be joining in the semi-final.
Okay, yes, but it is very certain that if Nigeria makes it to the playoff, they'll be joining in the semi-final.
And I think Polo should apologize to the Nigerian coach because he really undermined the coach.
I didn't undermine.
But yesterday I saw the excitement.
No, right from the beginning, actually has actually looked fantastic. Even with the Mali national team, if you follow the Mali national team at the African Cup of Nations, they played fantastic football.
Well.
He's even yet to play the model of football he played with the Malians.
They
were just unlucky. They were unlucky against Ivory Coast at the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
The last minute was when they considered when they were preparing for. They considered 2 goals during the normal game. They considered at the death of it, 90th minute. Ivory Coast equalized.
Yes.
At the extra time, he was already penning down his penalty takers. And at 120 minutes, Ivory Coast got the winner. So he was just unlucky. Mali at the Nations Cup were actually one fantastic team.
Yeah.
And that's what he has brought to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I know a lot of Nigerians, really undermine him, looking at him that he's from Mali. Why should we get him Malian as the not talking about Malian as our Malian, but why should we get him Malian as the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
But he's also a French.
Yeah, he's a French.
He's a
Malian
Yes, I'm still talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Oh, sorry, talking about the Bafana of South Africa. Yeah, my top. Does this show that South Africa are becoming mentally strong as a team for a team that is highly dominated with players who are home based?
I don't think there's anything mental or anything about it. See, when the lion is asleep, the prey will play in the forest. Had it been Nigeria was awake, all this English language will not be popping up for South Africa. It's just because Nigeria refused to wake up. They slept. That's just it. The giant is asleep. The prey will run around. So that's just what I think for this.
Okay, let's see if the Giants will be waking up in time to come. And lastly, can they South Africa carry this resilience into the AFCON and World Cup playoffs and World Cup proper?
Definitely, like I said here, I was in the studio here yesterday and I talked about how other teams in Africa have actually upped their game except for Nigeria, who I feel, we are not where we used to be, and I think we are, not to me. I don't think we are really, moving in the pace that the other African countries are really going at the moment. Because you look at Nigeria, maybe the group when the draw was made, you expect us to blow those teams away, but it wasn't easy. But for South Africa, I think they will definitely, give their best. Probably, move on to the next stages. But I don't think they will. I don't see them, ending the final eight, unless, though in football they said anything is possible. We saw that with Morocco in the last World Cup, but I believe South Africa will definitely, do better than some other teams.
Okay, yes, it's left to say South Africa will be doing better. And speaking of tournaments, Nigeria and South Africa will soon shift and focus to AFCON 2025, and that Group C draw has raised eyebrows. And Nigeria is drawn alongside Tunisia, Uganda, Tanzania in Group C. Not an easy ride. Tunisia are technically sharp. Uganda are gritty. We saw Uganda almost pulling out the magic against Algeria yesterday. One of those games that would have given Nigeria a lot of headache, permutations going around. When Uganda were leading at the 70th minute against Algeria, but Algeria came back to get a 2-1 victory in that encounter. We also, Tanzania are improving fast. We saw Tanzania at the last Nations Cup, even right from the time we had our own legend Amunike as the manager of Tanzania. Now looking at Tunisia, Tunisia seems to be a qualifying team. They know how to get themselves to the World Cup. Beautiful route. They lost 0 game in the World Cup qualifiers.
Knockout stage of the Nations Cup, they know how to do it. And they've also defeated Nigeria in a painful way to that Nations Cup.
That's 2004.
Thereabout. So Tunisia is also a tournament team. And one thing about these groups now is that there's a best loser spot.
Was that 2006? 4 or 6?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, 4. That was the time of Ozazel
Dewinge. Yeah. So I think that Nigeria can find a way in their group. Tanzania and Uganda shouldn't be a difficult team for Nigeria to defeat. Like I repeat, if Nigeria is awake and doing what they should do at the right time, these teams, Nigeria will take them to the cleansers. There's a reason why Nigeria has won back-to-back best player of the year. The Nigerian players are still best players in Africa. So I think that, yes, build your team around your best men. When you look at that formation yesterday, they played to the strength of Osimhen. Osimhen didn't have to stress. He just positioned himself and converted. Look at that first Chikwueze pass. Put it in the right place for Osimhen. He knows how to finish. The header, put it in the right place. He knows how to finish. He almost scored 4 or 5 goals, if not for the brilliance of the goalkeeper. Play to the strength of your marquee men. Simple as that.
Okay, and Paulo, who possesses the biggest strengths to Nigeria in this Group C?
Well, I think it should be Tunisia, because we always find it difficult when we meet most these countries from the North African side of Africa. And you look at Tunisia, they are one of those teams that have done or do their business in a very easy and calm way. They don't have to use calculator like the way we do here in Nigeria. So I think Tunisia should be giving us a good run, in that group, alongside probably Uganda, because you look at Uganda at the moment, they're a team that is very hard to crack. They defend well. They don't score a lot of goals, but if they score you 1 goal, they pack the balls and make life difficult for you. But overall, I think it's still Tunisia.
Okay, yes, I was left to say when the AFCON starts come December right there in Morocco. I'm sure Eric Chell experiments tactically during AFCON or focus solely on winning the AFCON.
You can't be experimenting in a mid-tournament. Yeah, sometimes if the result is not going your way, you have to go the experimenting route. But if what you have is working for you. Now, Nigeria is part of strikers up front. There was a time it was only Osimhen that was really a marquee striker that we have. But now there's Aroko Dare, now there's Ado,
there's Victor Boniface also.
There's also Victor Boniface, who we don't know if is really back fully in the game, because I think the guy is going through a lot. I don't know, because he's not at his best right now. But at least we have Ako.
There's also Siridisas.
There's Siridisas also.
There's
Terry Murphy.
Yeah.
No, those were the players we had when we know that it was only Osimhen we had. But now, Aroko Dare has proved to be a very important player. Now, Ako has come in Look at how smooth. Look at the transition. Look at the way, especially was it the attempt Nigeria got. The way he expands on the wing, is not just a point man. He's a player that can play from the right, from the left, very flexible and good with both feet. So I think that
Is there still any need for bringing in Chuba Akpom into the Super Eagles?
Chuba Akpom. See, one thing about national team football is about what you are doing currently at your club, your current performance, your current form. So it's very important. If he's a guy in form, you can't really ignore a guy in form without calling the media to make noise about it.
Okay, as I'm still moving on to the still on the Nations Cup, Paulo, can Nigeria use the African momentum to build confidence for the World Cup?
Well, that is if we qualify for the, I think
For
the qualifying would
November.
and
Yes, Neta is next year match.
yeah, and I don't know how it's going to, if the qualifying for the World Cup, I don't. I think it might affect our players going into the Nations Cup, because by then they would have played a lot of games, November, December.
There's normal to be friendly matches on November. Nigeria's games built for that November 13.
November 13.
Yes.
That's it
It's
should be
FIFA
against
free off. It's FIFA.
yeah, what I mean is that the preparation. I think a lot of preparation now will be going into that qualifying. I think they would have keep the Nations Cup aside now, but make sure we qualify. I just hope our players will be fit. Going into the African Cup of Nations, and there won't be any issue about talking about injury pick up, because the games coming out against Gabon and Co will be a very very tough game, and it's because winner takes all now. So you expect a lot of physical, and when it comes to African football, it's always very physical, and I expect that from the four teams that are going into that tournament, and for Nigeria going into the Nations Cup. I think it's not going to be an easy one, because with what I've seen with the Super Eagles at the moment now, every opponent now looks like a very tough opponent for us now, because a lot of especially those other countries, once they want to play Nigeria, I think they take it more serious than when they want to play other teams, because we've seen that with the likes of Lesotho, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and co. But going forward, I think Nigeria should not have any.
Okay, congratulations to all the teams who has confirmed on their qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will be hosted by the United States of America, Mexico, and also Canada. You can start making plans on moving to those nations for the Mundial come in next year. Let's cross over to England now, where managers are sweating and some might not last to the new year. Okay, the Premier League mid-season drama is in full swing. Reports suggest up to 5 managers could be on the hot seat. From the Manchester United manager talking about Ruben Amorim to Maresca, pressure is mounting as a result of slips. Who is under the most of pressure right now, Maresca or what's it called, or Ruben Amorim?
I think for the United fans, I think Amorim has been under pressure since the day was
he's getting the results
appointed.
right now.
Yeah,
Back-to-back
but with the board, I don't think he's under pressure, because we heard one of the majority shareholder, Ratcliffe, talking about giving him even new contract. But I think if you ask me, between Maresca and Amorim, I think Amorim is under pressure more, because he hasn't won back-to-back game since he joined Manchester United in the league. Okay,
we also have Nottingham Forest against Chelsea coming up this weekend. There's lots of pressure on that man and get posted logo. Or if any big club makes a change, or would could realistically replace them?
I think that Postecoglou is not I think that job was really a setup, because the players loved the manager. They were playing for the manager, and you ask the players will react. To their human. So it's the next manager that will take the hit. So I just hope that he can find a way to maybe talk to the guys, bring them to play for him, and start getting the result. Because if he doesn't start getting the result, he might start looking for
and there's even a rumor about what's his name, Sean Dyche, being linked with the job there to take over from.
Will Sean Dyche leave? What's it called? Newcastle.
Sean Dyche is jobless at the moment.
He's jobless right now. Yeah. Okay, as I'm moving straight, are sackings happening too fast in modern football, or is it just the new number right now?
Sacking, it has been in football that from timely memorial. There are two types of managers: the ones that are sacked and the ones waiting to be sacked.
Now you're talking like Osimhen.
Yeah.
Okay, why coaches are feel the heat of players like Erling Haaland and Salah are turning up the intensity on the pitch. Let's talk about Erling Haaland, whose goal streak continues, but questions are emerging about his overall influence. While Salah seems rejuvenated while leading Liverpool's title chase, two world-class forward, very different trajectories. Erling Haaland is the current top scorer in the EPL, and Mohamed Salah is struggling for momentum in the EPL this season.
Yeah, you know Salah. Salah will always be Salah. There will be a time where he used to have that. You look at last season, the drought was towards the end. But this season is from the beginning. Just trust him that he will pick. He will pick. And when he gets in that mojo, Salah will always be Salah.
Okay, Paulo, is Erling Haaland still the most dominant striker in the world of football?
Definitely, because you look at how he has been going, this season. Last season, he was a little bit out of form. Despite that, he scored a lot of goals, and for his standard, people didn't actually rate him a lot last season, despite scoring those number of goals. But this season, he has taken everything.
I don't think so. I disagree. The dominant striker in the world right now is Harry Kane.
I don't. I think no. To me, I think it's Erling Haaland.
12 goals in the league this season.
Over 12 goals.
21 goals this season so far.
21 goals, but you look in all competition.
Yes,
but Erling Haaland is even more than that.
Right now,
in all competition,
dominant striker. With the way they are going back, I'm not talking about the 9 goals, 4 goals he scored.
You have to add it
for Norway against the smaller team.
It doesn't matter. You have to add.
If you weigh the goals he's scoring in the Premier League and the Champions League compared to Harry Kane,
what's the problem with Arsenal's Koresh? You saw him lead them swinging to a no man's land. They didn't qualify. They didn't make it to the World Cup.
I don't know if I could the log there. I can't.
Alexander Isak too.
But Alexander Isak was there also. But I think both of them are definitely having issue. Getting goals for both club and country at the moment.
Yes, we wish to see how Gyökeres will be making his impact at Arsenal. Will he be leading Arsenal to winning the EPL, or will it be another same old story of we try again come next season? Which of the two players are talking about Salah and Haaland will have a greater impact on the title race come May? Or let us ask Gyökeres straight.
I think that with the way it is, I think Haaland. Because if you look at the way Man City wants to play, they don't mind scoring one goal and defending. So they need somebody to convert as much as possible up front. So I think Haaland, when you look at Liverpool they are spoiled of talents up front to get a lot of goals. If you look at Arsenal usually share the goals in front. So, but I think it's mainly Haaland.
Okay, now beyond the stars, it's time to shine a light on the unsung heroes of Europe. Right now, we're moving straight to the breakout stars of the 2025 season. Every season produces a surprise package of no names that will rise to prominence. Of this year, Europe's breakout talents are stealing headlines, transfers, attention. Which young player has impressed you the most this season?
Well, definitely a lot of players there, and I would go to Arsenal because there's a boy there, Mark Zuma. He hasn't had a lot of.
Have you seen him this season?
We've seen him.
The preseason is different from this season.
Yeah, he has played some games in
impressive in the league.
In the league, and few minutes he played, I think it was a bit impressive.
No, for him to, I don't think it's impressive
What have you
to
been
be
impressed
the
with?
most.
I'm not talking about the most, but for me so far, I think he has impressed.
For me, I have to talk about Semenyo. Semenyo has been really impressive.
But it's not a breakout star, Semenyo now.
Okay. Are we talking about
breakout talent? I'm not talking about young talent. That's a breakout talent.
Yeah.
Oh, breakout talent.
Yeah.
You said young player, not if it was a breakout.
Is Semenyo even a young player now? Could we consider him?
He's about 24, 25.
It's 24, 25 young now.
Right now.
So Ilami Yama will be what?
You see,
No,
when someone is
Yamal
young,
happened at 17
range-
doesn't mean the
it
range.
doesn't
The
mean-
range is
that's what I'm trying to ask.
24 is
24 is
still young.
You can break out at any
Your
age.
peak is 27, 28.
You can even break out at any age. We saw Mateta. We
This
saw Mateta break out at around 20, 22, 23 years old. That was when he broke into limelight.
is Zidane. No, they got into their middle stroke late 20s before they became the world bro. This is that.
Okay,
some players started
left to you
fast.
now. Who has been which young player has impressed you the most this season?
Yeah, I think I have to talk about Esteval for Chelsea. He has proved to be one important player, even despite the short space of time. You know, some of us that we really love the fact that Madueke was sent back in for him to come in. He has now proved us really, really right to see that humble, good attitude, plays the football, enjoys his game, raw talent.
Okay, also, Paulo, can any of those breakout stars sustain their form at the highest level?
Yeah, it depends on how the manager of their respective teams manage their game time. You don't expect them to play all the old league games, but whenever they come in, they make impact. That is what matter most. And I think most of them will definitely sustain it. We saw with what they call it last season, the Serie Due, with Paris Saint-Germain. So far this season, I don't think he has really played, but that last season. I think
he has been out injured this season.
Yeah,
for most
last
of the
season he didn't even start very early. It took him about 3 or 4 months after the start
4
of the
weeks.
season before he was able to pick up, and he helped Paris Saint-Germain all through last season, and so I expected so from most of these players are also coming at least for this season, because there are a lot of players you see them throughout the whole season, they carry it, then the next season you might not see them again.
Okay, do you see any of those big club moving for some of these unsung unsung heroes or breakout stars from one of the small teams?
It's normal. That's what happens practically every season. Look out for talent that up their game and get those big money transfers. And that next season, next transfer window, or next summer transfer window won't be a different one.
Okay, we have the EPL coming up this weekend. Chelsea will be hosting Nottingham Forest in an early kickoff on 12:30 p.m. You can join us on Premier Sports Fans that will be in the studio for analysis of that game. And all eyes will be on VAR come this weekend again. This weekend Premier League matches gives us yet another round of VAR outrage. Fans are divided. Is it helping or has it gone too far? Is VAR improving decisions accuracy or just ruining the flow of the game?
It's very obvious that VAR has been a blessing. A whole lot of unjust decision would have been taken, but VAR has really stepped in. VAR is not the problem. Human error is the problem. Just get people to perform well at maximizing the potential of the VAR, and you get better.
And we saw the world praise Africa's utilization of the VAR
VAR
at the AFCON.
Yeah.
Let's see if Africa will also be improving on that when the Nations Cup kicks off in Morocco. Should referees face public accountability after big errors from VAR?
Well, I think so. They should be, facing, serious accountability after errors, but not like the one the referee against 3FC of Ibadan and Kano.
There was no VAR. There was no VAR.
Yeah, that's what he faced accountability in the hands of the fans. But I think if we had VAR in that game, probably most of this, controversy, the fans feel that they were cheated on. If we had VAR in that game, probably it would have helped the referee a lot. But that aside, overall, I think a lot should be looked into referees performance after games. You review the because like Yema said, VAR is not the issue, it's the human that are the issue there, because after going seeing that there's obviously that this thing is not a foul, you still go ahead and blow that safer. Then after the game you hear the PGMO coming out and say, oh, it's human error, and after that the best you hear from them is that the referee has been suspended for the following game. After that weekend you see the referee coming back again. I think more should be done, probably start by withdrawing the wages of that referee for
Maybe
them.
they should come learn from the NPFL. After errors, they just suspend the referee for the rest of the season. Okay, yes, I'm talking about that unfortunate game between what's it called, the Kano Pillars
And
and
3SC
3SC at the Sonny Abacha Stadium. The aftermath of that, lot of sticks has been thrown at Kano Pillars. They've been disbanded from playing at the Sonny Abacha Stadium, and they've been moved to Castina right now, and they've also been fined 9.5 million naira, and I think 3 points deduction from their points. But here is the interesting thing: Baru FC, which also plays in Kano, will play their home game this weekend against Kano Pillars, and still the same Sonny Abacha Stadium is Baru FC's home stadium. So that's where they'll be having the game this weekend against Kano Pillars.
Yeah,
and it's a local derby. We should be
It's a
expecting a lot of trouble.
So they won't actually kill each other. Some will support the
I
other.
don't
some
think
will
so.
support
I
the
don't
other.
think so. They
So
might still.
It's a
Football
derby.
in the north. Football in the north
They
is
might
actually actually
Yeah, a
that's
lot
where,
of
that
emotions.
is where they put emotions into the MPF.
Yeah, a lot of
I think that they have the fans with the highest number of emotions over there in the north. When you see Katsina United play, the stadium is always filled to the brim. Niger Tornadoes, we have Kano Pillars also playing. You have Plateau United. The stadium is always filled to the brim, and you can see them, chanting for their team to win. But we also have to imbibe that spirit of sportsmanship. That yes, you lose some, you win some, and sometimes you play draw.
Yeah.
Fair game is the game of football.
Yeah. You see, fairness should be preached. Football is not a do or die, and I think many fans should understand that. Even when you put your resources to it, you know that it is not sure. There's a space there that they talked about spare money, meaning that something you can afford to lose. So when you put something you can afford to lose and it doesn't go your way, then you should at least be able to control your emotions. So I think that football should grow to a level whereby you lose a game and you don't have to cry. You feel the pain, you take it all in, and the next game you hope for better. What do you expect a Man U fan to do? Will they kill themselves?
The Stefan wasn't won the league for over 20 years.
Over 20 years. So.
It's just one of those things.
And
that
even
happens in football.
the other one on the red side of London too. When you talk about it, what do you want them to kill themselves?
Okay, we will leave that banter for Saturday when the EPL return is. Finally, before we wrap up, let's celebrate the African players have taken over European football, from Victor Osimhen in Turkey to Kudus in England and Chukwueze also in England. African players are not just participating, they're defining European football moments. Their consistency, flair, and mentality are reshaping perceptions. Which African player has had the biggest European season impact this season?
Yeah, I think it should be Antoine Semenyo, because you look at how he has taken the league by
Bournemouth.
storm for Bournemouth. He has been.
I've seen that guy taking shots practice.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
saw one of the
it's no
clips
surprise to me
there.
when I see him, striking.
Yeah.
And just the same way it wasn't surprise to me seeing Caicedo score that screamer against Liverpool. Because if you watch Chelsea's training seasons,
yeah.
you'll see him always,
Trying
working
to shoot.
on those kind of shooting situations.
Ability,
So
yeah.
you taking Semenyo as the African player who has had the biggest European impact this season. Do you see him sustaining that?
Definitely, because I don't think it's like those players that just or one season wonder. We saw him, right from last season how he has been, progress, and this season you could see the level of the progress, and I believe, he definitely sustained. And at the moment, he's also in a team that, is playing very beautiful way. It's not just the only one playing. Everybody's doing fine there, and I believe he will definitely sustain.
Okay, so we've seen Ghana and Ivory Coast. It feels lot of talent. Lot of European clubs have been going to these countries, to pick from the academies. How can African academies continue producing top talent for global leagues?
You see, one thing that has eluded African football is structure.
Yeah.
Bring structure in, build a structure whereby children can go to school, go and train. Some people are talented, but they don't know, because there's no structure. Because a parent that wants to protect the child will not allow the child to go and play football in some places. But there are some children of the rich that are extremely talented too. So talent is something that it can be there, and if you don't discover it, you don't discover it. So bring structure, facilities, proper setup for children. They can come in, test their ability, do it all under, not just for football, athletics and all those things. When you have structure, now see how the
I think that's what is working for Morocco right now.
Morocco has broken the jinx of not getting to the semi-final because they went
And
back.
they've also got into the
and
semi-final of the 20 World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're having a
You know,
momentum
they look
as a
at their
competition.
female team too.
Yeah.
It will rub off on everything because over 10 years they've been building structure. Any small competition now, CAF, host country now for the whole Africa.
We used to have
is
South
Morocco.
Africa as the 7th grade then, but right now it
But
looks
right
like
now it's
Morocco is the new
Morocco
pride.
because there's facilities everywhere you turn, and there are good road networks and all those things. So build structure, and the game will erupt.
Okay, yes, we'll be hoping Nigeria builds that structure one day. Nigeria also gone into host of the next Commonwealth in 2030, if I'm not mistaken. If it's very much possible, if Nigeria will be getting that hosting right, because right now it's just a two-way host
They're
race
also
between
bidding
Nigeria. They are bidding for it,
for
Commonwealth.
Formula One.
Formula
also.
One, I don't know how possible that's
Abuja,
Abuja, but they have
is it
South Africa to
trending?
compete with for Formula One. But when it comes to Commonwealth, I think they have just Nigeria and India as
But-
it stands right now.
But one thing looks so good for Nigeria now. Nigeria is one of the eyes of foreign direct investment. So this sport, if Nigeria can get them, it will also increase the eyes. Look at the E1 that
Yeah,
Lagos
hosted in
State
Lagos.
hosted. Look at what
The
it
acceptance
brought.
and the,
yeah, and all. So those kinds of things, when they host it, it does your country will not remain the same. So I think that it is very important that even the Nigerians support Nigeria to host those things.
Okay, lastly, Paulo, talking about African talents around Europe, does this new wave signal a golden generation for African football?
At the moment, yeah, we for a very long time, Africa have suffered deep in talent, or what should I call it now? Because we remember the days of J.J. Okocha, Samuel Eto'o and co. You could see that there was a lot of talent from Africa. Then the Drogba and co. And suddenly in the space of probably 10 years, and everything just phase up. But at the moment now, you could see that there is players coming up, talking from Victor Osimhen, Semenyo, the Ivorians, what they call
Adingra?
Adingra and co. You see that that Africa at the moment now, we have players that we can continue to call on in the next 4 or 5 years. There's Mohamed Salah also.
But you can't call Salah for the next 5 years.
But there are a lot of players also.
But I
Look at
just
Morocco,
say,
Hakimi,
let's just look at it realistically. Africa has dropped talent-wise.
at the moment.
Yes.
I don't think so. At the
Okay.
moment.
Now look at it. There was a time when you look at the biggest teams in world football, you see young Africans leading the line. There was a time at Arsenal, Nwankwo Kanu. There was a time at Chelsea,
Didier Drogba.
Obimike, Didier Drogba,
Solomon
Kalu and co. There was also a time at Barcelona, Samuel Eto'o. There was also a time in PSG, J.J. Okocha. And you can continue to mention that. Now, when you look at where are African players now, when you begin to look at the top teams, even Nicholas Jackson is a benchwarmer in Bayern. Look at the biggest in Barcelona. Who is the African representing there? Real Madrid. Who is the African? Bayern Munich. Who is the first team player African there? You have to talk about this thing. Arsenal. Look at it. Look at Arsenal. Who is the main African player leading the line? Look at Chelsea. Let's call a spade a spade. Africa is dropping in talent. You want to mention a player from Ivory because you are mentioning Adingra. That is not even really a mistake. They had to loan him out
to Sunderland.
to Sunderland. Just imagine.
I know it was sold actually.
It was sold. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but I think for the profit now, Brighton.
Not
is selling
just see. They're a selling club, but if Adingra was that good, it won't be Sunderland coming from him. So when you look at this thing, let's call a spade a spade. Even in PSG, where's the African player there?
Exactly.
The biggest teams in world football, where's the African players that are germane to those teams? Out of 10, you pick 2. Is that growth?
Well, we only wish the CAF will actually improve, or CAF will actually improve
I think it's
on
just
the
structure.
talents. There is saying
Encourage
they
the
have to
countries
encourage,
to
they have to
have
encourage
structure.
countries, and the
And
countries
talent
also
will
have to do
sprung
the
up.
right thing.
Yes.
It's not about embezzling the money whenever
Yeah, whenever
they
it
have
comes
it.
in.
So it's always a pleasure having you guys in the studio.
Yeah, thanks
Discussing
for
sports.
having
And while we are waiting on Saturday,
us.
Chelsea against Nottingham Forest, Arsenal against
Arsenal against
Fulham.
Fulham away.
Yeah, it's a London
Covent
derby.
Cottage,
You're
yeah.
going to get a victory over Fulham at Covent Cottage.
Yeah.
I'll be here on that day to make jests of Arsenal fans around the world. Yes, and what a show from Nigeria. Dominator player of push to Ellis Alanza versus Salah. We also have the VAR debate and the rise of African football stars. It's been a packed hour of Talk Sport on Premier Sport Fan Center. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and drop your thoughts in the comments section. Who wins out the African Cup of Nations come 2025? Which EPL manager gets sacked first? And can Nigeria
Next.
make it, or next, rather, and can Nigeria make it to the 2026 World Cup? We'll catch you next week, same time, same passion. Until then, keep talking sport. My name is Adi Mishegu, and it's bye for now.
Oh, and another goal for Super Eagles. This is Premier Sport Center. Anywhere. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember to click that subscription button. Oh, and another goal for Super Eagles.